Greetings. I'm Peter Witt, Professor Emeritus at Texas A&M University. I'm pleased to bring you today's webinar on youth program recruitment and retention. This webinar is part of a series from the Sequor Youth Development Initiative, and the initiative is part of the Texas A&M Agrilife Extension service. Let's begin by discussing the link between youth voice and recruitment and retention practices. What is the link between these ideas? Well, youth voice is the involvement of youth in all aspects of program design, implementation, staffing, and evaluation. So, in other words, we need to pay attention to youth voice when developing recruitment and retention strategies. Young people will have an important role in determining who comes to a program and who stays. The first important area of recruitment has to do with advertising. So, we need to position programs as being youth-friendly. Youth hear about programs both formally and informally, engage in activities that they feel meet their needs. What are some recommendations? Well, we need to involve youth in every aspect of advertising information dissemination campaigns. Who we target, how we design the materials, what's the content of the materials. And to get to youth these days, we need to use social media in all its multiple and changing platforms. We also, if we want underrepresented groups to be involved, we need to figure out what's their preferred source of communication and conduct targeted marketing to reach those particular individuals. We also need to collaborate with other youth-serving agencies, and we need to remember that first contact and impression management is critical. You may only get one shot for people understanding your. Access and transportation are also an important part of recruitment. So we need to ease access through making travel issues, in a sense, a non-issue. Youth go to places that are familiar and comfortable, and they need ways to get there. So some recommendations. Involve bus companies, ride shares, and agency-owned vehicles as ways of young people getting to programs. Locate programs in the target community or collaborate with an existing facility, such as a church or community arts center. We need to locate programs where young people live, and we need to ensure that the hours of operation are consistent with youth's availability. Another critical aspect of recruitment is safety. To recruit youth to programs, they need to feel emotionally and physically safe. A safe place is one that does not accept violence and aggression or bullying, but rather supports civility and positive interactions. So here's some recommendations. We need to conduct physical and emotional risk assessments. We need to consider increasing or decreasing police presence. We need to use chaperones to escort youth home after activities when appropriate. We need to be able to discuss violence in the community and role model safe actions and words. And finally, we need to be firm about bullying. Another important aspect of recruitment is involving families. If family members believe in and support their youth's participation in a program, youth are more likely to attend. Additionally, family members can serve as resources and volunteers for the program. So here are some recommendations. Recruit youth by advertising to family members. Conduct family nights where you invite family participation in special events, distribute program newsletters to families and other activities, and create spaces on the board of directors for participants' family members. But make sure you're also involving youth in this important role. So, having discussed recruitment, now let's turn to retention. And let's begin the discussion of retention by talking about staffing. It is really important to have caring, respectful adults who are committed to supporting youth by empowering youth and who can relate to youth in terms of building strong relationships with participants. Youth will stay in a program because caring staff and friends are there. So what are some recommendations? Well, we need to carefully select and train staff. The relationships established between staff and young people are the most important thing in keeping young people in a program. We need to ensure that staff have positive attitudes toward youth and hire staff with the intent they will work for a reasonable period of time. In other words, they're able to establish relationships and then develop those relationships over time. We need to reflect in our staffing the current and potential diversity of participants. And we need to support youth in cultivating self-efficacy through the staff that we hire. And finally, we need to train staff in current youth issues and share best practices at staff meetings. Programming is another important aspect of retention. Programs should be designed and implemented with youth input and reflect the needs of participants. Some recommendations. We need to ensure that youth have continual input into the program. It's not just important that we talk to them when they're entering a program, but we need to get constant feedback. And then we need to update program offerings based on that feedback. We also need to balance consistency, in other words, doing the same thing all the time with the need for change. It's also necessary to offer diverse activities for differing interest groups. In other words, people will stay in a program if they see that there's something fundamentally interesting to them that's going on. And we need to develop a plan for those who will age out of the program, those who become too old over time to participate but still have an interest in the activity. Facilities are another important part of retention. A youth-friendly setting helps youth feel comfortable being at the site. So, we need to make youth media an important part of the setting as it is appropriate. And we need to use resilient and adaptable furnishings and equipment that's youth-friendly. We need to provide computers and printers for homework, and we need to separate older and younger youth through time scheduling or spatial configurations. These two groups aren't always compatible in the same setting. Next, let's discuss community engagement and service. Meaningful service opportunities can improve youth's connection to their communities, job skills, self-esteem, and commitment to the organization. It's an important part of attracting youth to programs, but also to retaining them as part of programs. So we need to support youth in understanding they do have something to offer others and develop a work plan that will enable youth to be involved in the organization and in their local communities. Youth can be a central part in organizing ongoing center programs, and we can help build relationships with other community leaders through collaborative efforts. Speaking of collaborations and partnerships, they're also important to retention. Collaborating with other organizations with an investment of youth is a cost-effective way to fill programming gaps and to recruit new participants. So, we need to collaborate with other organizations and individuals to provide diverse activities and opportunities. We need to provide field trips that enable us to get out in the community. We need to work with local businesses and share evaluation methods and outcomes. And finally, have youth conduct workshops and trainings for and with other organizations. All of these things will help bind young people to programs that we offer. Once we attract young people to come to programs, it's sometimes hard to get them to stick around, but attendance incentives can maybe help us in this endeavor. While participation in programs may be intrinsically rewarding for some youth, other youth, especially those new to the program, may benefit from some extrinsic awards for their initial participation. So, we can conduct field trips and special events for varying levels of program attendance. We can create explicit culture of high attendance that matches the culture of the organization. We can appoint or elect experienced youth to leadership roles in the program, and we can conduct surveys of program dropouts to find out why they left. But an important thing overall is we need to move from where we initially might offer external or extrinsic rewards. We need to ultimately have youth motivated for participation through intrinsic rewards. Evaluation is another key component of retention. It is important to evaluate program demographics, attendance patterns, program design, and program outcomes. All of these can provide information on future program improvement and success. So, we need to evaluate who attends and how often they attend. We need to identify key aspects of the program that influence positive behaviors. We need to evaluate program impact on knowledge, values, attitudes, and behaviors of the participants. And we need to review current and potential collaborations to see if we can improve the resources available to the program. Here are some closing thoughts. Recruitment and retention are vital to any program. And recruitment and retention are about building quality, intentional, youth-oriented programs. We need to involve youth in every aspect of program development, design, and evaluation. And we need to have youth help design ways to spread the word about the program. There's nothing like a satisfied customer to help attract others. And finally, we need to do everything to protect the brand of a program. If things go wrong, that, for example, make the newspapers, it's very, very difficult for programs to recover that image and that quality of excellence that they once had in the minds of the public and in the minds of youth. We hope you've enjoyed this webinar on youth program recruitment and retention and the importance of youth voice in recruitment and retention efforts. Again, I'm Peter Witt. I've been pleased to be with you. Please visit our website, ydi.tamu.edu, for additional materials from the Sequor Youth Development Initiative, and also feel free to email us at any time. Thank you very much.